There's always the slightly awkward part of flying an aeroplane. You know how to fly an aeroplane, but you also don't want to be the idiot who assumes too much. My Bushbaby has taught me a very specific way of doing things. Super useful in my aircraft, but obviously not automatically useful in a different aircraft. I made the drive out to Worcester thinking that I was just going to get a quick rating on the Orion Cub. Pretty quickly this airplane showed me something awkward. Right, so I'm at Worcester Airfield and this is the Orion Cub. I'm here to do my rating because next week we're supposed to be flying this airplane across South Africa. I've flown it a couple times, but today I'm flying with an instructor, with Craig. So we're going to do my rating, check it out, get comfortable with the plane and building some trust with it. As luck would have it, it's covered out in fog, so we're waiting for the fog to lift. Once the fog's lifted, we're going to get the rating done, hopefully. Fly with an instructor with Craig. Done a couple of videos with him, so anyway, that's where we're at today. Right, so it is now an hour later and it is still pretty fogged out. That is the reason it's fogged out, because there's not really much of a wind. So I think we'll probably give it another hour or two and see what that's like, and hopefully we can get the rating done today. I don't think this is going to be around forever. So hurry up and wait. That's aviation for you. I came to Worcester thinking that I was just going to get a quick rating on the Orion Cub, but pretty quickly this airplane showed me something awkward. I couldn't just fly it like my Bushbaby. I'd learned some bad habits. The cockpit audio from this flight is a mess, so I'm not going to make you sit through 10 minutes of engine noise and half sentences. As usual with aviation, the first part of the day is just hurry up and wait. Worcester was covered in fog, so before I could get rated on anything, we had to wait for the airfield to reappear. We took this time to walk through the engine, the propeller and all the instrumentation. Eventually the fog lifted and then it was time to stop talking about the rating and actually go and fly the airplane.
So you're fairly confident you've flown with your right hand?
Yeah, the shock hub is pretty much
same setup, because
that was also in a weird position like this.
Generally the only thing that gets a guy is just to change the hands. Back, brake set, stick back, all good. And then the throttle,
Craig was calm, which helps a lot, because when you're already trying to work out a new airplane or flying a new airplane, the last thing you need is someone making the cockpit feel busier. I've got enough tailwheel time to know better than to act too comfortable too early. I don't want to be the guy who gets signed out on paper and then spends the whole trip behind the airplane. I needed to know if I was comfortable enough to take the airplane on this trip. The first takeoff honestly surprised me. The airplane was ready to fly way before I was. It definitely had way more punch than I expected, and once we were airborne, it felt pretty solid and stable. Probably even predictable if I could put it that way. The cockpit layout is extremely different. It's a tandem airplane where I'm used to side by side. Even the way I use my hands is pretty different. In my Bushbaby, I'm used to flying with my left hand and working the throttle with my right hand. In the Orion Cub, that's the opposite. It sounds pretty small, but when you're new to an aircraft, the small things matter. This Orion Cub also has a Rotax 912 ULS with a VZ turbo in it. It also has an E-prop constant speed propeller, which I'm not used to. So before we flew, Craig taught me through how to manage the engine properly, as well as the propeller if something went wrong. The lesson started in the circuit. In my Bushbaby, I'm used to getting the flaps early and dragging it in a bit for landing. It's light and it's draggy, and that works for the way I fly it. But the Orion Cub definitely doesn't want to be flown like that. It wants to be flown more like a Cessna 172, which is actually pretty nice. Craig picked up on that pretty quickly. Stay high and don't drag it in. Use the flaps properly and manage the energy. Let the airplane come down like a parachute, in a controlled way. Once I stopped trying to make it fly like my aeroplane, the Orion Cub started making a lot more sense to me. Higher approaches, flaps at the right time, stable picture, and it just came down nicely. After that we did the normal rating mode, circuits, stop and goes, different flap settings, glide approaches, and just getting comfortable with the aircraft. And that's where you start building trust. Not from one perfect landing, but from seeing what the aircraft actually does again and again and again. The glide approaches were probably some of the most useful parts of this flight. That's where you start thinking about real-world margins and situations. The ultimate destination for this aeroplane is Krugersdorp, also known as HMS Krugersdorp. Apparently the final approach has a sheer cliff on it, which is why we practiced the high approaches. That's the annoying thing about flying. It keeps humbling you just when you think you're starting to get the hang of it. By the end of it, I was incredibly impressed. The Orion Cub is a super nice aeroplane, very predictable, extremely stable, refined and honest, and actually it's a lot easier to fly than my Bushbaby in many ways. But easy doesn't mean casual. You still have to fly the right profile, understand the engine, and respect the aeroplane. So the rating's done, my ego slightly adjusted, the aeroplane's in one piece, and we'll call that a win. Next up, we're flying this aeroplane across South Africa.
What a jaw!
Yeah, 100%.
Nice machine. It's nice to make something different.
Sorry.
I missed my toe, thankfully.
Yeah, I know, like I was scared I was moving it.
I cupped with like a black nail there.
I'll have to buy you like a bottle of brandy or something for that one. Thanks, Craig. That was...
Yeah, okay. Glad it worked out. It was looking touch and go for a moment.
Yeah.
As in insurance and
Everything.
weather, but it worked.
Yeah.
And when it works, it works.
For sure. I didn't get a slap behind the ear. Okay, so the rating's done with Craig. It was pretty cool. I learned something, flaps and stuff. Back to old school, some bad habits of the Bushbaby. But yeah.
Yeah, but it's a nice platform. It's super simple, super safe. Gareth can fly it. He's got a long journey ahead of it.
Yeah. See you guys on the next one where we fly the airplane across the country.